The story begins on the afternoon of November 7, 2018, in Paradise, California. Kevin, a school bus driver, was finishing his route, dropping kids off at their homes. Once the last child was dropped off, he returned the bus to the depot. His supervisor, Ruby, reminded him that the vehicle was overdue for servicing. Kevin asked if there were any extra shifts available. He needed the money, but Ruby said nothing was open at the moment. "I'll let you know," she said. Kevin headed home, where he received a call from the vet. His dog's cancer had worsened, and it was time to bring him in. At home, his mother was watching over his son, Sean, who had come home early from school feeling sick. Kevin tried to stress the importance of education, but Sean pushed back. "You didn't care about school," he said. Kevin had dropped out when Sean was born, and he didn't want his son to repeat that mistake. Sean turned up his music, ignoring him. Frustrated, Kevin snapped, "Wait till you have bills to pay." The argument escalated until Sean shouted, "I wish you were dead." Later, Kevin took his dog to the vet for what would be the final visit. He'd raised the dog since it was a puppy. The next day, strong winds knocked down a power line on a nearby hill, sparking a wildfire. The flames spread quickly. A red flag warning had already been issued for the area. Ruby told Kevin the mechanic was ready, so he needed to return the bus on time. Kevin resumed his route. Meanwhile, a passing truck reported the fire to emergency services. Cal Fire was alerted, and 2 fire engines were dispatched. But the terrain was difficult. Narrow, winding roads made access nearly impossible. The fire was traced to a downed power line, but reaching it would be a challenge. As Kevin picked up students, his mother kept calling. He didn't answer immediately, but when he did, she said Sean's condition was worsening. At the same time, Kevin received orders from dispatch to return the bus for maintenance after drop-off. He replied, "I'll fuel up and head back." He told his mom to check Sean's temperature. Meanwhile, firefighters still couldn't reach the blaze. They'd need to reroute. Cal Fire Division Chief Ray Martinez was briefed. Paradise was still distant from the fire's path, so no immediate threat was expected. Sean wasn't speaking to Kevin on the phone. His temperature was 101 degrees Fahrenheit. Kevin said, "Mom, I can't talk now. I'll grab medicine for him on the way home." Just then, Chief Ray was informed of another fire, this one on Rim Road, north of Kona. It was far from the original blaze, but also caused by a power line. Chief Ray was furious. "We gave you a red flag warning last night," he told the PG&E lineman. "Shut down all the lines now." At that moment, Engineer Hopkins radioed in from Concow. "We've got a serious situation," he said. Spot fires were erupting everywhere, spreading fast. Visibility was vanishing. This area was far from the other fires, and its power lines had already been shut down. Chief Ray realized the terrifying truth: it's all one fire. One damn wire. The blaze was expanding uncontrollably. He redirected resources to Kona. Ruby alerted all drivers about the fire. "You know the drill. Stay tuned to the radio." She told Kevin to return quickly or risk missing his afternoon shift. But Kevin still needed to pick up medicine for Sean. Meanwhile, Hopkins began evacuating residents without vehicles, loading them into his truck. On the other side, Kevin got a call from his ex-wife Linda. She said Sean had been texting her, asking to be picked up. Kevin replied, "That's not necessary. He's sick, I've got his medicine. I'm working." Linda said she was busy too. She and Pete were heading to Colorado that night. Kevin was hurt but ended the call. He reported smoke to dispatch. Ruby snapped, "Forget the smoke. Get the bus here or find another job." Meanwhile, Chief Ray sent crews to Concow, but they wouldn't arrive in time. Hopkins could barely drive through the smoke. Air tankers were deployed, but the wind made precision impossible. Chief Ray instructed Hopkins to head for a bridge and take shelter in the water. Hopkins stopped the truck and told everyone to get in. They rushed into the water as the fire closed in. Fire trucks couldn't reach them. The roads were blocked. The flames reached the people standing in the water. Chief Ray tried reaching Hopkins, but there was no reply. For a moment, everyone feared the worst. Then a message came through. They had survived, though many were badly injured. Hopkins warned that the fire was now racing toward Paradise. Back in town, Kevin noticed fire trucks speeding past. He left a voicemail for Sean. "Sorry about last night. I picked up your medicine. I'll be home after work." He reassured his son about the fire near Conga, telling him to stay calm and watch Channel 7 for updates. Ray issued evacuation orders for parts of East Paradise, but when officials tried to send alerts from Town Hall, A signal failure blocked the message. At a local elementary school, staff didn't wait for formal instructions. They began calling parents, but some worked out of town. Those children would need to be taken to a designated pickup site. Kevin got another call from Linda. She accused him of being unreliable. Kevin admitted he hadn't realized how sick Sean was and didn't want to argue. Linda said this was her first weekend away with someone else since their split. "I know things have been hard since your dad passed," she said, "but think about Sean. He doesn't want to live with you." Kevin, deeply affected, sent another voice note. "I need to know you're okay, buddy." He decided to head home instead of returning to the depot. But Ruby sent out an urgent message. Drivers in East Paradise needed to evacuate immediately. If they had children on board, they were to take them to the Chico depot. At the elementary school, parents began picking up their kids. Those whose parents couldn't make it were to be transferred to another school. But there were still 23 children waiting. The principal called Ruby, asking for a bus. None of the drivers were nearby, except Kevin, who was en route home. Kevin faced a choice: go to his son or help evacuate the children. He hesitated, saying no at first, but then told Ruby, "I'll get them." Ruby agreed to postpone the bus maintenance. "Just get those kids out." Kevin arrived at the school and urged the children to board quickly. But teacher Mary calmly organized them. These were young kids, and panic had to be avoided. Kevin pressed, "Please hurry. This is serious." Once the children were aboard, he told Mary she'd need to come too. "I can't manage them alone. I need to get to my family." Mary informed the principal and joined Kevin. He wanted to take a different route, but Mary insisted they follow the plan. Meanwhile, traffic stretched for 15 miles toward Chico. Chief Ray reached headquarters and considered evacuating the entire town, but doing so would block fire crews from entering. A PG&E representative named Mark Rogers arrived. Ray ordered him to shut down all power in town. Then he gave the command, "Evacuate Paradise." Back on the road, communication between Ruby and Kevin had been lost. Kevin's phone was down. His bus was the last one still operating in East Paradise. The only safety gear on board was a first aid kit and a fire extinguisher. Mary asked Kevin about his background. He'd moved back recently but had grown up here. Because they left the school late, they were now stuck in traffic. Ruby notified fire control that one of their buses was missing. Kevin veered off the planned route. Mary protested, but Kevin said, "We'll be stuck here otherwise." The fire was closing in. The children began crying, scared by the erratic driving. But Kevin's only focus was getting them to safety. Mary, who had asthma, tried to stay calm. Back at base, Ruby was ordered to evacuate. Even as she left, she kept trying to reach Kevin, but couldn't. On the bus, Kevin and Mary talked. She'd been married for 19 years and had a 15-year-old son. She was supposed to pick him up, but had come to help evacuate instead. Her sister would now collect him. Both she and Kevin were determined to get these kids to safety. The situation worsened. Even the hospital had caught fire. Chief Ray told his team, "This isn't a forest fire anymore. It's a town fire. We have to save lives." Kevin's bus hit a roadblock. Mary asked, "Your family's signed up for alerts, right?" But Kevin hadn't registered them. His mother didn't drive. Just then, a nearby house caught fire. Mary pulled the children away from the windows. Kevin told her to take the wheel. She didn't know how to drive, but now she had to. Kevin got out and spoke to a traffic officer, explaining he had children on board. But the officer was overwhelmed. He had to clear the road for fire trucks. Kevin began moving cars himself. Mary edged the bus forward. Kevin jumped back in. They were just a minute from the drop-off point. Mary joked, "You'd make a good traffic cop." The children were excited. They thought they'd soon see their parents. But when they arrived, the school had burned down. Mary stepped out and looked around. No one was there. Kevin and Mary were at a loss. Mary said, "We'll take them to Chico. Then we'll come back for our own kids." Just then, one little girl panicked and curled up on the floor. Mary comforted the frightened girl while Kevin pulled the bus away from the burning school. Meanwhile, Chief Ray was informed about Kevin's vehicle. 22 children were on board. He also learned that firefighters were being forced to cut through live power lines to advance. Furious, Ray confronted Penn from PG&E. "Why are these lines still active?" he demanded. Penn explained that while the automatic systems had shut down, the manual switches were taking longer to be activated. Kevin and Mary were left with two possible escape routes. One was dangerously narrow, filled with hairpin turns the bus couldn't navigate. The other was their only viable option. As they drove, a child named Toby spoke up. "You don't even know where our parents are." Kevin invited him to sit up front. Toby lived with his mother, and Kevin reassured him, "We'll get you to her." But the road ahead was falling apart. Power lines snapped and poles collapsed in front of them. Kevin maneuvered off-road, crashing through fences to keep moving. Eventually, the path was blocked entirely. They'd have to try the narrow route after all. On that road, chaos reigned. People were burning. Looters attacked the bus. One man even had a gun. Kevin stopped him from boarding and turned the bus around. Meanwhile, Ruby reached Chico. All her buses had arrived, except Kevin's. Inside Kevin's bus, the children were dehydrated and overheating. Smoke began seeping through the air vents. They had to shut off the AC. Kevin found himself in a park he used to visit as a child. From there, a trail led to the narrow road. Suddenly, one girl collapsed from panic. She needed water immediately. Mary told Kevin, "Stay here. If the fire comes, you'll need to drive the kids out." She ventured into the smoke to search for water, despite her asthma. She found bottles in a nearby camper van. Kevin called out to her as explosions echoed around them. Somehow, Mary made it back. Kevin drove the bus forward, surrounded by flames. The children screamed through the thick smoke. Miraculously, they found a way out. Back in Chico, Ruby updated the parents. The children had been evacuated from the school, but no one had heard from them since. When parents learned a new driver had taken the bus, panic grew. But Ruby stood firm. "I trust Kevin, you should too." Kevin was now navigating the narrow road. There was barely any clearance on either side. Suddenly, people approached from the opposite direction, warning of fire ahead. Kevin told them not to go back. There was fire behind them too. But they insisted on taking their chances. Now Kevin was trapped, unable to move forward or back. He stepped out and climbed a ridge to assess the fire. Flames surrounded them. Returning to the bus, he said, "We can't go anywhere. We'll have to stay put." Mary suggested they evacuate on foot. Kevin shook his head. These kids wouldn't last 2 minutes. Mary asked, "So we just wait here?" Kevin replied, "This is the only spot not burning. Everywhere else is on fire." Mary asked, "What if the flames reach us? What happens to these kids?" They had no options left. Kevin tore his shirt into strips, soaked them in water, and made makeshift filters for the children. He taped over the air vents to block the smoke. Meanwhile, firefighters ran out of water. Hydrants had lost pressure. People were dying in their cars, fleeing on foot. Chief Ray told his team to focus solely on saving lives. Inside the bus, conditions worsened. Kevin stopped Mary from standing and spoke directly to the children, urging them to stay away from the windows. He tried to distract them with conversation. One child asked, "Is it getting dark?" Kevin replied, "No, the smoke is blocking the sun." Toby said, "I want my dad." Kevin answered, "He's doing everything he can to reach you." Mary suggested letting the children sleep. It might be easier. But Kevin said, "We can't think like that." Mary shared that she'd only left Paradise once, for a 2-week trip to Ohio. "I thought if I followed the rules, I'd be safe. But if I get out of this, I'm taking my son to Legoland." Kevin said, "I spent years trying to stay away from Paradise. Now all I want is to build a life here." He continued, "When I got the call to pick up these kids, I thought maybe I could earn a second chance by getting them out safely. But second chances don't always work the way you hope." Kevin shared a story from nearly 3 decades ago. He'd had a fight with his father, one of many. That night, something snapped. He yelled, slammed the door, cursed his dad's name, and said he never wanted to see him again. His father responded with words that haunted him, "I wish you were dead." Years later, Kevin's life unraveled. Then, just months ago, while working a night shift, he got a call from his mother. His father was gravely ill. Kevin drove through the night, but arrived too late. His father had passed. He'd been late as a son. And now, he feared he was failing as a father. Tears welled up as Kevin told the story. But suddenly, flames erupted nearby. He grabbed the fire extinguisher and tried to fight the blaze, but multiple fires had broken out. The extinguisher ran dry. Desperate, he used his clothes to smother the flames, but it wasn't enough. Kevin rushed back to the bus, but it wouldn't start. He placed Mary in the driver's seat and popped the hood. Removing the air filter, he managed to get the engine running. Now he had to drive through the inferno, weaving between burning trees and debris. Fire surrounded them. The children screamed. Kevin, his hands scorched, kept driving. Through sheer determination, he pushed forward. And finally, they made it out. The bus reached the Chico depot. Parents rushed to embrace their children. As Toby stepped off the bus, Kevin told him, "Good luck." Mary thanked Kevin, and they hugged. Applause broke out for both of them. Mary reunited with her family. Kevin turned to Ruby and said, "Time for maintenance." But Kevin still hadn't found his own family. He checked the lost and found no sign of them. He searched the crowd. Then he saw his mother. Their neighbor had brought her and Sean to safety. Sean stood beside her. "It's for the best," his mother said softly. After the fire, Kevin returned to what was left of his home. It had been completely destroyed. Amid the ashes, he found a charred photo of himself and Sean. Just then, Sean appeared behind him. They embraced tightly. His mother watched from a distance, quietly witnessing the moment. Well, that's it guys, that's the end of the movie. Leave a comment and let us know your thoughts. Please subscribe to my channel, it would mean the world to me. Also, remember to like the video and gently touch on the bell icon to receive a notification whenever I release a new video. I will see you in the next video. Take care and be well.